All right, green room.
The green room has begun.
As you're getting ready, get your eye patches on again.
Always,
It's
always.
good.
I mean,
I'm happy for the people who didn't see it last time. They get to actually,
I was saying to
see
Tucker,
this
like, it's
magic that I get to see.
it's not a bit, it's a lifestyle. Like,
Yes,
I don't do this for the content. There's lots of things I do for content. This
we
is not
know.
one of them. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes, yes. Well,
When
that's good to
Kristen
know. I'm happy.
Kristen has arrived, and the first thing she said was, "You're wearing that for the pod." So she's
Oh,
also,
Kristen gets it. Kristen
yeah.
gets it. Yeah, I
Um,
did. This is definitely green room content. Last time it led to you, me, and Devin. Like I had to listen to you and Devin through text message, talk about all your beauty
I
primping
mean,
stuff that you
dude,
do. Never heard of any of it. You're pulling stuff out of the freezer. I was like,
oh,
what is
dude,
happening right now?
ice roller out the freezer. I
Oh
asked
yeah,
Kristen to
yeah.
bring it, but we don't have a freezer.
Oh, devastating, devastating.
Yes, tell me about it. So, all right, let's do it. Let's talk
Let's
about the
do it.
Eagles.
All
Yeah.
right, we ready? Here we go. All right, let's roll. Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app, buddy. It's a table hitting day.
It's a table hitting day.
Go
Well, I can
time.
tell when I woke up to like 80
Day
text
32.
messages.
We'll get to that in a minute. Like, I'm feeling it, buddy. Like,
I'm happy you are.
I went
Yeah.
to bed at 6 p.m. last night. I woke up. I'm kinetic today. I'm like full
like
on
that.
energy and ready to roll. And also, it's getting real. Like it's been real, but now I'm feeling it's really, really real now, buddy.
I mean, it is time. Like it's Thursday. I mean, so today's the last time we'll see the Eagles before the game. Like this is yeah. But I mean, like they're but for what it's worth, like
right,
they're
yes.
the press
The world as
conferences
you
are
put
public.
yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, it started to become a little bit more of a regular week for them. Yesterday they had regular media, regular practice. We don't really have to go through the practice report. Obviously, they're good to go. They're fine.
They're all playing.
Yeah, they're all playing. Yeah. So today is their last day of media. I think then I'm sure they'll have like stuff they could do for the broadcast, but Friday, Saturday, I think they have pretty normal stuff. Yeah. So
all right. So we're going to get to day 32. We're going to get to Jim Murphy in a second, but I actually have it's like a final thought to start the pod, a first thought, you might say.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. We could do first thoughts sometimes.
I never thought of it until just now.
Yeah, it sounds good though.
But this is something, I thank you. I was pretty proud of it when I just popped in my head. It's something that's bothering me, and I got to get it off my chest.
All right, let's hear
it. You've been down New Orleans. You probably have not. You're seeing Eagles fans down there, but I'm talking to them every day, right?
Yeah.
Full board of calls every show.
No big deal to you.
No big deal. I mean, the morning show we've been hopping with the calls, okay? And it's something I've seen there. I've heard kind of over the course of the playoffs and all this stuff, and I feel like as an Eagles fan, I need to get out in front of this, and we need to set the correct tone, okay? Like. It's all about Sunday, okay? Like, I don't want to hear talk about dynasties. I don't want to hear talk about Kellen Moore or Myles Garrett or whatever. Like, it's about Sunday. This is not the beginning of a dynasty until they win a freaking Super Bowl. I am so tired of it. Like, if I hear the word, this could be our dynasty, one more time, I'm going to strangle somebody, okay? We have to win the Super Bowl. We have won one. Ever. We've won 2 championships in my 43 years of life. Like, enough, okay? We will worry about the era and what it could mean and what's coming up. And, they're the second youngest team in the league. And, let's trade for Myles Garrett. And who's going to be the offensive coordinator? And could we win 3 and 4 years? All that nonsense comes after Sunday. Focus on what matters. Winning the Super Bowl on Sunday. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? Let's win. That's my first thought.
So you're saying it's a must-win game?
Yeah, you're damn right. But it's been so much. Like, I've heard so many people be like, this is our chance to start our dynasty now. Like, shut up. Honestly, like, that's what I think when people say it. I think, shut the hell up. Let's win on Sunday, and then we can talk about legacy, about where it goes from there, about winning another. Let's win one.
So I have good news for you. I think this might just be a morning show like the callers you're getting, because being down here, I've been on, it feels like WIP for 8 hours every day, like midday, afternoon, and then I've been doing the show with Tom and Devin after. And I haven't heard a lot of that. So, good. But I agree with you. And I think what's built into that, and honestly, this is something, I don't know if you've heard it, but I feel like I've heard from a lot of people, especially, I would say, like down here on media, on Radio Row, but also the callers. I think people are overlooking the Chiefs just a little bit.
I
Like
agree.
the I got into this debate yesterday with Tom, but
Dude, we
like
had Chuck from that area. I love Chuck. He said they're going to win 38-17, and they might. But it's like, I've heard a lot of we had another guy who said it was going to be like the Bears and Patriots. For those who don't know, they won that Super Bowl 46-10. Like, can we rein it in a little bit? Like, I think we're going to win. I think we're the better team. But like, to go in with this attitude, like we made this mistake 2 years ago, Elliot.
100%.
I made this mistake.
Yes,
I learned. I think we're going to win, but I'm going in acknowledging the fact that we're facing perhaps the greatest quarterback to ever play the game and maybe the greatest coach to ever play the game. So like anything can happen.
Well, if there's two things I think the Go Birds pod has learned and acknowledged, which I think is good, you with the overconfidence from 2022 and me with the leader of men. Like those would be the two biggest lessons.
I agree with you. Yeah.
So so Shio Kapadia wrote a really good article from The Ringer. I would actually highly recommend everybody reads it. It's long. It's kind of like reading a chapter in a book, to be honest. So I guess we probably both read yesterday. But this stat I thought was particularly crazy. So in 132 career starts with Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs have lost by more than 8 points five times.
So it's okay. So the stat I had heard is they've lost by double digits 4 times.
Okay, so this is 8 points.
Same idea. Right. Same idea. Yeah. Like exactly. Now one of them was a Super Bowl, so that does matter. But yeah, dude, I told Emily that stat. I'll just throw stuff at Emily throughout the week because we talk about it. And all that. Like Emily was flummoxed by it.
Dude, she was like 4%.
Dude, and then I told her that he'd been to 7 straight AFC championship games in his 7 years, that the only 2 he lost, one was D Ford, the other was in overtime. Like she was like blown away when I told her the whole Patrick Mahomes stuff, you know?
Yeah. I mean, what's crazy is Patrick Mahomes has so many stats that you say, and you're like, that's wild. Jalen Hurts also has that amount of stats. Like I would bet Jalen.
Well, not to the same level. He hasn't won the Super Bowls.
No, yes. I agree. But like I would bet Jalen has lost by more than 8 points in his career. Also a very small percentage. But the overall point I'm making is this. It is more than likely going to be a close game. Now, I do acknowledge I think it's more likely the Eagles blow out the Chiefs than the Chiefs blow out the Eagles.
I agree with that.
I do think it is more likely.
I agree.
But earlier in the week, I said I thought there was a 20% chance Eagles blow them out. Like after reading that, like I'm down to whatever you want, 10%. But I think to your point about the dynasty and like this roster set up to win for forever and like all those things, like the roster's great, Howie's great, all those things are true. I do agree with your premise of like, the Eagles are underdogs in this game. We can say it's only a 1.5. Maybe it'll change before kickoff, but the Eagles are not expected to win this game. If they win and they beat the Chiefs, it will be an upset. And I actually think Eagles fans should embrace that. I don't think you want to go into this game expecting to win it. It's good as a fan to feel like you're going to win and to be excited. Don't spend the next few days being like, well, they're probably going to lose, because I don't think they're probably going to lose. I think it's close to a 50-50 split in this game. But if you allow yourself, the Eagles fans, to acknowledge like it's going to be very hard to beat the Chiefs, they're going for a three-peat, they're the ones that are on a dynasty, then it makes the win that much more special, as opposed to going in with this idea of like the Eagles have the better roster, they could blow them out, I think they might win by 15 points. Like you're kind of setting yourself up for disappointment. If that's what happens, allow it to be like, wow, I can't believe this is happening, instead of expecting it, because expecting it is just setting yourself up for a very unlikely scenario.
Yeah. No. So Emily, going back to Emily, one of Emily's like life ethos is, one of the things she believes in most is set expectations low and exceed them. That Amen. Is like a life thing that always. So I'm with you. All right, let's get to
so
day 32.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, no. You're right.
We'll do day 32, then Jim, then your thing will get to So day 32, I have one, and again, I'm bad at these, but there is one that from my youth that stuck out to me the moment we said it. Ricky Waters, I believe, was number 32.
So when I was younger, and it's pretty, I can't believe I owned this. They should still make them if they don't. I had a Ricky Waters jersey that was reversible. Like it was green on one side and black on the other.
I remember the reversibles. Those were cool as hell.
Those were pretty cool. They did them with basketball jerseys too. Like those are pretty cool. But yeah, Tucker texted in Chris Polk. That's Chris a good Polk. One.
You got any others? You're the king here.
Was it Michael Lewis 32?
Michael Lewis was 32. I like that. That's a good one.
Reed Blankenship.
Oh, Reed. Yeah, Reed Blankenship.
Here's
that says my name when he so inside baseball. Behind the dugout, inside the dugout.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a little private chat that we can have. And Reed popped up on there, and that's correct. Reed Blankenship, shout out. It says my name with the private chat. Tucker, are you
Well,
using my like login or something?
well, here's the other funny part of this. I thought you were saying let's do the read. It's
I
like,
did too. At first, I
yeah,
did
yeah,
too. I
yeah,
thought that was
yeah,
like, don't forget to do the read. I'm like, that's
yeah.
REED.
So
Yeah, I'm
read
with you.
read Blankenship, but I don't
It's a
really
good
like
one.
doing current players. But read Blankenship. Chris Polk's a funny one. Think of like the fact we remember Chris Polk. I feel like he was almost on the tip of everyone's tongue for like 2 years. Like there was like a he could be somebody. Why is he not giving him the ball more? And
So
he,
I
I
only
mean, very
remember
nice
Chris
guy.
Polk
Just
so
didn't.
well because he was there for 2 of the 3 years I worked for the team. So I
Yeah, he was
talked to
like
Chris
a
a bunch.
personality. Like he
Super
was.
nice
Yeah,
guy. Yeah, I
yeah.
really liked Chris Polk as a person.
Any
But I
other
think
32s? Michael
I
Lewis.
feel like it's Ricky Waters' day.
It's definitely Ricky Waters Day.
Yeah.
I would
For
agree with
what
that.
today? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, we
Rasul
got more Russell
Douglas,
Douglas. That's a good one. Better past the Eagles.
Eric Rowe.
Yeah.
All
Beat him in
right.
the Super Bowl.
I think Tucker's just cheating now. I don't
I think
think
he
he's
is too.
thinking of all
Tucker,
these.
Tucker,
Okay.
are you looking him up? Just say yes. You're definitely
Yeah.
looking him up. Yeah.
Tucker Seltzer. Maybe. Yeah,
Maybe,
there we go.
maybe. Okay, we'll take it. All right. Let's get to Jim.
Okay. So
Big Jim.
Big Jim. Big J Jim. All right. So this chapter
It's
is
definitely not
called.
Big J Jim.
No, definitely not Big J Jim.
No.
It's called the Juicy Lemon Drop, which caught my eye
Is
because
it talking about drinks?
Well, I was gonna say I do think lemon drops are probably the best shot.
So I think
Green tea is also good, and they're sweet. It is
so
what
you're
it
just
is.
talking
But
about those kind of like because the best shot is just like straight tequila or straight whiskey or whatever. But if
So
you're saying you're not
yeah.
a yeah, I know. I get
Well,
it.
no. Here's what I would say. I would agree with you that the downside of those shots is that they're very sweet, and
Yeah.
but they're easier to take than straight liquor.
I
I guess is my point.
picklebacks were fun.
Oh yeah,
I
picklebacks.
was a
Yeah,
pickleback fan.
yeah.
But I agree with you. I think lemon drop probably the most classic of the.
I actually ran into a bunch of Go Birds listeners at a bar in Philly. We all did pickleback shots.
Love it.
They told me to shout their school out. I unfortunately can't remember the school. No surprise.
If it had been me, I would have remembered.
I know you would, buddy. You'd have their shirt on. All right, here we go. Think back on your day. Was anything frustrating or fun? What were the circumstances that created that feeling within you? The way we experience life seemed pretty clear cut. Something happens and we respond to it. If it's a good thing, we feel happy. If it's a bad thing, we feel upset. But what's the underlying cause of how we feel? I would say what happened. I mean,
it could be many things. It could be what's going on in your life at the time. Maybe something happens, but there's something bigger that's forcing you to feel a certain way. Maybe you're dealing with a tragedy, or maybe you're dealing with something super happy that whatever. Like again,
well, I know,
and I think
know.
it's unfair to Jim because we are taking just small sections of his book and analyzing them. But like, I'll just say I would not purchase Inner Excellence.
Well, so here would be my takeaway from that, and I think there is a lot of truth to it.
Just a lot of obvious things are said.
Yeah,
in this book. It's no bleep, Jim. Thanks, pal. Really nailed it.
I do think you can when things.
Oh, the things that happen in your day affect how you feel. No way. What?
All right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I ran into a listener yesterday who was like, I get the vibe James doesn't like the Inner Excellence book. I was like, I think that's a fair assessment because every day we read it, he just says how bad it is.
I know. Sorry,
yeah. But I was going to say, I do think there is a lot of truth. And it is something I try to remind myself. Of
course there's truth.
How things happen to you, though, how you perceive it is in reality how bad it is. Like if you're nervous.
Well, how you perceive anything is reality. That's literally
right.
reality.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So when something happens to you, you can perceive it in a way that makes it not as upsetting to go through. If it's a bad thing, or if it's a bad thing, you can make it a positive. I love the expression being nervous about something is like living through it twice. You know, if you allow yourself to be nervous all week about something on Friday, you've basically just done it 5 times instead of once. So.
Yeah, I'm a big don't worry about things you can't control. And I know that's hard to do.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
I'm not great at it, but that's another Emily life ethos that she's really hammered into me, and I've gotten much better at it. So
yeah.
And it's true. You can worry so much about it. If you have no control over it, the worry is useless. It's impossible not to, but anyway.
Well, okay, so my thought is actually about the offensive coordinator, but I want to get ahead of it. I want to make sure we're the first people to have this out on record, and then we'll talk.
So you're just completely.
I know.
Okay.
But I think it's an important point that I do think we should be ahead on. So Kevin Patullo talked yesterday and said, basically paraphrasing, he wants the offensive coordinator job. He said the word absolutely. He said it's something he's wanted. He kind of said he's been passed over for it or insinuated other teams wanted to hire him and he didn't do it. So we can talk for weeks and weeks after the game about who they should hire. That's not what I want to do now. But what I do think I want to point out and to put something in people's head, I think we might be staring down the barrel of the first like Nick Sirianni power play, where like
Because Kevin Patullo is clearly his guy. He
that's
mentions him
his
all the time.
yes,
That's his dude.
that is his guy. Like came with
This
him,
is fascinating. All right.
right hand
I
man.
don't care right now, but it is a fascinating thought.
Right. And look, I think Nick is very good at getting along with people. I think a strength in Nick's is all those things. But like once Doug won the Super Bowl, he wanted more say.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick has obviously been okay with collaborating on who his coaches are, to put it like kindly, right? So if Nick wants Kevin Patullo and Kevin Patullo wants the job, and it comes down to I will leave if you don't give it to me, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Howie thinks of Kevin Patullo. Maybe they're all like, yeah, he's the guy. Let's do it. But it doesn't seem like a Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie hire to promote from within, considering how poorly that's gone in the past. He's never called plays. He's not a veteran play caller. I think this is something to keep an eye on, because I think Nick's going to want Kevin Patullo to stay. And I don't know. This could be the first like tense moment here.
Okay, interesting. Now let's move on, because that's
more
than enough. Interesting thought. Interesting thought. All right, let's dive in, because we've got 5 key matchups that we have to get to. We've done it the Thursday before every playoff game.
Yes.
We're certainly not changing with that flow.
We're not changing it now.
What has worked will stick. Elliot, what's matchup number 1? Can I just guess? Do you have them in a particular order?
I don't have them in like order.
I won't guess. You know what I'm going to do? Do I have a pen? I'm going to text Tucker. I think there are 2 matchups.
I'd be pretty surprised. Okay, go ahead. I'd be pretty surprised if you guessed the one.
I think
if you guessed them, yeah.
I think there are 2 matchups that will 100% be on here. I'm going to text it to Tucker, and let's find out. You go ahead and start it up.
So number 1
I'll text it to Go Birds Pod, because no one else can see that. All right.
There you go. All right. So number 1 for me, or at least number 1 on this list, Jeff Stoutland versus Chris Jones. And I say Jeff Stoutland versus Chris Jones because obviously Stoutland's not going to be on the field, but Chris Jones lines up all over the field. He has lined up at 100+ snaps at right end, left defensive tackle, right defensive tackle. He's all over the field. So it's not Chris Jones versus Mekhi Becton, although I do think Chris Jones versus Mekhi Becton is potentially a worrisome matchup. But it's not Chris Jones versus Mailata. Like, it is Jeff Stoutland coming up with a game plan where pre-snap, the 5 offensive linemen and Jalen have an idea of where he's at. What are they going to do if he's there? Making sure the protection is set up with Chris Jones in mind. This is definitely a leave Karlaftis on an island thing, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I think Chris Jones, Jeff Stoutland is the GOAT offensive line coach. And it's games like this where you really need him to come up with a big time game plan.
He always has. Always has. I mean, name a superstar defensive lineman that they've gone up against who's killed him. Like, it never happens. You know?
I agree.
So,
it's deep units that get him. It's not one player.
Yeah, but if it's Aaron Donald, he shuts him down. If it's Micah Parsons, he shuts him down. Like, he just has a knack for this. So I think that's a fascinating one. And I do think I am less concerned about Chris Jones than you are.
I'm pretty concerned.
I know. Because I trust Stoutland to handle it. Now, the question is, like, Karlaftis on an island. Now, I think you feel pretty good considering you have the 2 best tackles.
Exactly.
5 best tackles in the game. But I agree with you. I think the way they play that matchup, and I think they will be able to do it, but I think it could leave them vulnerable in other spots.
Yeah, so I obviously have a lot of trust in the offensive line, too. I think we're probably more on the same page with the worry level because, like, Chris Jones is just an unbelievable player. Now, I agree. You almost never see a defensive lineman wreck a game. Like Jared Verse did in that snow game, I would say.
Yeah, you're right.
He was
great. Yeah.
But again, like, they had Byron Young. They had Brandon Fisk. Like, they had a lot of guys. The Chiefs really only have 2 guys. So I'll do the number 2 one right now because it leads right into it.
It's Karlaftis versus...
it's Karlaftis versus Lane. Now, here's what's interesting about Karlaftis. Karlaftis is one of the few players on the Chiefs on either side of the ball that lines up in only one spot. Like, of the 700 whatever snaps he's had this year, like 680 of them have been across from the right tackle.
Right.
So he is not somebody that switches sides. He doesn't really go inside. Like, he'll maybe do it 1 or 2 snaps a game. But for the most part, the matchup in this game will be George Karlaftis versus Lane Johnson. Now, obviously, I have confidence in Lane Johnson shutting down literally anybody. He has shut down better players than George Karlaftis. But George Karlaftis is a very good player. Like, I think he has almost 20 combined sacks the last 2 years. He was 6th in the league this year in hurries from an edge perspective. So he is an elite edge rusher. His name is not, or maybe it is, but I don't hear his name mentioned
No,
often
no,
when
no.
talking
You're
about
right.
the.
You're right.
Yeah, and he's probably not in that class yet where he belongs in like a future Eagle Myles Garrett or like Micah Parsons or Max Crosby. Like he's not those guys, but he has stats comparable to those guys.
And he
So,
plays well in the playoffs too.
and
Like
he's a big time
he's
playoff guy.
raised his
Yeah.
game in playoff games. At least
So
the numbers say.
all that being said, I think Lane Johnson will do fine against him. But where they could really start to run into problems is if like Lane is having trouble with Karlaftis. And if he does, that's when Chris Jones becomes a bigger issue because I think a benefit of having Lane in my lot, and we say this every week, is you not only know they'll play well, you can just put them on an island. Like you don't have to leave other protection over there. You don't have to leave a running back on that side. You don't have to put a tight end on that side. You can just put Karlaftis. You can just put Lane there and hope he'll shut down Karlaftis. But if he struggles against him, that's when the Chris Jones things becomes big time problem. You start running into more of a Rams situation than like a Cowboys where it's just Micah Parsons.
Well, I think the other aspect of this that we haven't talked a ton about, we've talked about Spags a lot, but the blitzing and the exotic blitzing and the stuff they've never seen. And then if you've got Karlaftis competing one-on-one and you could blitz with other guys and so on and so forth. Same thing with Chris Jones. If you have to double Chris Jones, leaving people open if they're rushing, like now obviously there's risks on both sides with that, but I do think that because we've talked about this O-line being the best of all time and having one of the great seasons and all that, and they have, but they've been good in pass protection. They have been all-time great in the running game. We've had games, and the Rams one was a recent example where the pass protection has not been to the level of the run game, O-line production and all that. So I feel completely confident that this O-line will be able to handle it. But if you ask, like, obviously, where could the O-line come up small? It's in pass protection. So I do think these matchups matter.
Yeah, and well, when you talk about pass protection, Jalen's clearly involved in that too. So like expecting Lane Johnson to block Karlaftis for 4+ seconds is tough. Expecting the line to come up with a plan where Chris Jones isn't getting to Jalen for 4+ seconds is going to be tough. So it's also going to be on Jalen to know where the protection is and make sure they're set. But also, like, you got to get rid of the ball, man. Like, this is not a hold on to the ball day today or game for Jalen. Like, I don't think
last game he got rid of it quick.
He did for sure, and I think he'll do it this week. And by the way, we'll talk about this tomorrow, I guess. But his over under for total yards rushing and passing
it's 240. It's like nothing.
I love the over for that. I think he could throw for over 240.
I do
yards.
too.
So
I do too.
And that's exactly. So, but yes, Karlaftis versus Lane is a big one in terms of setting everything up.
All right, what's number 3?
All right, number 3. Oh, these are all just leading right into them. I'm not even doing it intentionally. But Jalen Hurts versus Steve Spagnuolo. So,
with the blitz and all that. It's good.
So in 2022 in the Super Bowl, Spagnuolo blitzed Hurts on 18 of 42 dropbacks, so a little less than 50%. In 2023, that next year in Kansas City, that number went from a little under 50% to 15 and 28, so over 50%. I think it's pretty clear. Now, Spagnuolo talked about this yesterday at Media Day, and he said, Jalen's really good against the blitz. And he's been impressed by him, and they thought he was awesome in the Super Bowl. And I think there's a kernel of truth in that, but obviously he's
only a kernel?
Well, I just mean, like, I don't think Spagnuolo thinks Jalen's good against the blitz. Like, I do believe.
Why do you think that?
Well, because he's blitzed them. He blitzed them over 50% of the times in the last time he played.
Spags blitzes everybody, though.
Yeah. But I just mean, like, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think Spagnuolo is afraid to blitz Jalen Hurts. Is more.
I agree with that. I don't think Spags is afraid to blitz anyone, though.
Yeah, and I just think whenever coaches talk about players,
I mean, he blitzed Brady in the Super Bowl and beat him.
Yeah, for sure. I just think when coaches talk about players in the Super Bowl or before a game, like what's he going to sit up there and be like, Jalen's okay against a blitz. We think we can get
it.
Right. So I expect Jalen to be blitzed. And obviously, like, we spent so much time last season, so much time in the offseason talking about how will they be against the blitz. And they've obviously improved against the blitz. They have been much better against the blitz this year. Jalen's done a good job. His numbers against the blitz are pretty good. They're still, though, like middle of the packish against the blitz. And Jalen does hold on to the ball quite a bit. In fact, I have another stat from the Shield article I thought was super interesting. It was about okay, so when opponents have blitzed this year, Hurts has taken a sack 13% of the time, the highest mark of any starter in the NFL. So while they have been good against the blitz and better than they were in 2023, they still do take a decent amount of negative plays against the blitz. And negative, look, a sack is way better than a turnover. But if you turn 2nd and 10 into 2nd and 17 or 3rd and 17,
we've seen them lose
yeah, it's a
points,
huge
deal. We've seen them miss field goals. We've seen them, be pushed back out of range. Like, it's a big deal. Now, I will say to the initial point you made when talking about that right there, I do think that and again, it's not, he needs to be better with it, but I do think some of those sacks were taken because he didn't want to risk turning the ball over.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I am good with. I am good with in a vacuum, but I agree. I think particularly that Rams game, is the most recent example of spots where it's like, just throw it in the stands. Like, do whatever you got to do to get rid of it.
100%.
I'm with you.
So,
all right.
Go ahead. Just little last thing I was going to say is I think a lot of times we talk about Jalen struggle against the blitz and we bring up Todd Bowles for obvious reasons. He's really struggled against Todd Bowles. But I do think when it comes to the blitz, like Steve Spagnuolo, like if this was a video game and the Super Bowl is the final level, like this is the boss at the end of the
It's such a great call, Elliot. You're right. Well, especially after last season and the way it's you're so right.
Yeah, I mean, like Todd Bowles is
going
tough,
up against. I mean, this guy learned from Jim Johnson. I mean, like
that
Spags, and Spags, I think, we've talked about it. I think he should be considered the greatest defensive coordinator of all time. Like, you could argue Bud Carson back in the day with the Steelers or whatever. Like, my lifetime, Steve Spagnuolo is the best defensive coordinator of all time, bar none. He has won 4 Super Bowls and he has played a major role in winning all of them. And obviously the first 2, like, you could argue the most important person in both those games for the Giants. So yeah, this is, you're so right from a narrative perspective. The whole blitz thing from last year to now, like, it really does feel like it's like, all right, this is the final test. This is the end of this narrative potentially. So I think
if he beats it, he'll have a Super Bowl ring.
All right, we got 2 more to go, but first, I mean, this is the all-time
of weeks.
Yes,
exactly.
All right. So at the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app, like, this is the time. Like, first of all, I mean, the crew representing Bet Parks: Mike Quick, Seth Joyner, Jody Mack, Mark Zuma, Rob Ellis, Joe Conklin, and us, Eliot Shorr-Parks, James Seltzer. And it's the game, the big game, the one to bet on. There are so many ways to bet on this game with the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. So many fun prop bets to make. You can go on, check it out.
I thought the piece of betting advice you gave yesterday is so good. I want to repeat it in case we don't have people that heard yesterday.
Please, yeah.
If you're going to bet on the Eagles to win, I think the better bet is to bet either Jalen or Saquon to win MVP. You're going to get more juice. And what, now the downside would be if for whatever reason you bet on them to win and then the other gets the MVP. But I just think if you get, what is Jalen, plus
Saquon
3
is
something?
Like plus 240, 280, depending. Like, last time I looked, and then Jalen's like plus 370 or something.
Yeah, like getting the Eagles.
I think Jalen is a great. I think Jalen,
I agree,
is an amazing bet.
I think really that is a smart bet for sure.
I agree.
So,
I agree. And there's so many fun things to bet on. Obviously, yardage totals, individual player performances, sacks, interceptions, all the good stuff. And look, in addition to it, while you're waiting for the game, getting ready for the game, you got a casino right in the palm of your hands. You can play blackjack, roulette.
Baccarat.
Ooh, I love
extra.
That was
exactly.
It's super.
Once I started to do that noise, it was a little hard to stop. I'm not gonna lie.
I loved it.
It
was phenomenal, and that's the thing. You can do all this stuff, all the action we've seen right at your fingertips. Here's a great deal for new users. New users, download the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app right now and get up to $1,000, $1,000 in casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. Casino bonus must be wagered. See betparks.com for the details. You must be 21. And in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Michigan, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And Elliot, you might not know this because
I bet I don't.
You're living it up down in New Orleans and all that.
The Big Easy.
But it's freaking cold here. We had an ice storm last night.
I heard.
Tucker's at home because he couldn't brave the weather today to come in.
Wow.
And the cold weather, it's tough, man. And one of the best ways to protect your home from the cold is properly installed and insulated windows. We trust Window Nation because they are the best.
Absolutely. And look, we've given you, I mean, it's the end of the season. We've been talking about Window Nation for like a year now. But in case you're not convinced yet, I picked actually my 4 favorite points. Like, we're doing a top 5 today. Here's my top 4 reasons.
Oh, I love this. I love a 4-pack.
Is a little, nice little 4-pack. So first, in no order, because you can't really rank them. A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau.
You can't get better, right? Like there's no A++. It's just A+. It's the
I
best.
think that's the best you can do. Yeah. A 50-point inspection of every window before it leaves the factory.
50
Honestly,
points.
I don't even know what you're
are we
checking
doing?
there. I would just look at it and be like, I mean, it's not
50.
falling apart. Yeah, 20-point inspection for every window when it's installed. I'd actually love to watch them do the 20-point inspection. Do you think you could even guess 3 things they inspect on a window?
No.
Like I guess
The seal,
the seal, like
the glass,
not cracked. I guess that'd be another
that's
one.
it. I'm done. I can't
But
wait.
obviously they know Windows because they know 20 points to check. And then of course over 20,000 5-star reviews.
Yeah. So this February, there's a lot of stuff going on. You could have already missed Groundhog Day. It happened. President's Day coming up. Valentine's Day. Yeah, I might not want to miss Valentine's Day.
You know I'm a big Valentine's
I'll
Day.
miss Valentine's Day, but Elliot will not.
Do
Elliot
something nice for Emily. She would love it.
Yeah, I probably won't.
Right,
but you know, it's okay. But you know,
you can do that when you're handsome. You know?
I will miss Valentine's Day because what I care about is not missing my chance. So don't miss your chance to save 60% off on all windows and pay nothing. Yes, zero, nothing, nada for 2 years, only from Window Nation.
February is a short month, and if you haven't looked at your calendar yet, it ends on February 28th. I feel like everybody should know that. Which
I agree. Well, could be a leap year, Elliot. Could be a leap. It's not, but it could be.
True. Coincidentally, though, it's the last day you can save 60% off all window styles from Window Nation. That's pretty crazy.
So if you're thinking about new windows, even if you're not, now is the freaking time. It's the time for the birds, and it's the time to get new windows and make your house all nice for what we got coming up. We're going to be celebrating a championship all off season. Do it in the comfort and warmth of your home. Window Nation's got top quality windows and a 96% customer satisfaction rating. So call 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com today. Tell them Go Birds sent you, and tune in Saturday for the Go Bird Show because we will have yet another unbelievable prize from Window Nation. No big deal.
Unbelievable. You want to talk about killing a playoff run. They've been killing.
Oh my God. They just dominated the run. All right, let's get to number 4.
Next up. So I'm Patrick Mahomes, but guess versus who? And you might have seen it on Twitter, actually.
I didn't. I would guess Vic Fangio.
I'm going Patrick Mahomes versus Zach Bond. And here's why I'm going with that.
Obviously, so over Fangio versus Reed as an option here.
Yes, yeah. Is that
what? So that was one of my guesses.
I don't have that one.
I thought that a clear. Too obvious for you for the key.
Yeah. Okay. I tried to be a little cute here, a little creative.
Cute.
Yeah, a little cute. I mean, I got the.
You're looking cute with your eye patches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you might as well keep it going. So here's my Patrick Mahomes versus Zach Bond thing. Patrick Mahomes has crushed this team as a runner. He did it in the Super Bowl in 2022.
It feels like he crushes every team in the playoffs as a runner.
He's such a sneaky good runner. He only has 300 yards rushing this year. I swear I've seen like 18 plays of him making a big play running.
I feel like I've seen him run for 300 yards in a game.
It's crazy. So, while obviously stopping Mahomes as a runner is a team sport, it's going to take the full guy, all 11 guys on defense. I think Zach Bond is a piece against Mahomes versus the run they didn't have in the past. He's super athletic. He's really good instincts. He's a good tackler. Like, I think Zach Bond can keep Mahomes from getting a 3rd and 7 conversion to like getting him off the field and keeping it to 2 yards. So I don't think they'll spy Mahomes, but I would also say like Zach Bond, the Eagles, I'm guessing, are going to play a lot of zone. That's what they traditionally do. And he'll have to worry about Travis Kelce for sure. But when you're in a zone, like, you're not running down the field with your back to the ball. So I think Zach Bond will be huge in making sure Mahomes is not making big plays with his legs.
Yeah, no, it's massive. And, we've talked so much about Zach Bond, how important he is to this defense, flying around, being everywhere, making turnover-worthy plays. I do think just in general, the turnover thing with the Eagles defense versus the Chiefs offense, obviously the Eagles not turning the ball over, that's been one of their things, and they have to keep doing that. Obviously, remember the last Super Bowl and all that. But I do think that, I don't know if many people heard, but it was, I think it was over 500 straight snaps that the Chiefs had gone until they turned that ball over in the Buffalo game. It was like November something.
Well, I was going to say
last turnover.
Mahomes has only lost 1 fumble all year.
November. They didn't have a turnover between November and the Bills game a week and a half ago or whatever it was. Like, they don't turn the ball over either. Yet this defense, one of the things that makes it so great, as we've seen with the 10 turnovers in the playoffs, is their ability to turn the ball over, the pounding of the ball, the whole thing. So I actually think like the Eagles' ability to force a mistake, and I don't think it'll be a pick. I think it'll be knocking the ball out of Xavier Worthy's hands or knocking the ball out of whoever, you know what I mean? Like Kareem Hunt's hands or whatever. Like, they have to find a way to create a turnover against an offense that does not turn the ball.
Yeah, they have to, and it's not only is it stealing a possession where you're, getting their chance with your offense, it's just about getting the Chiefs off the field, right?
Mhm.
And so
Totally.
I 100% agree with you. I think whoever wins a turnover battle, more than likely. I mean, the last Super Bowl they played them close, but there was the
1-0 in the
turnover by
turnover
Jalen,
battle, yeah,
and
and there was
honestly,
the bad punt.
and the special teams thing is it's not a
Yep.
turnover, but it feels like it. All right,
Agree.
the last one. To be honest, we've talked about this one, so we can keep it a little short. But like, would you move Jalen Carter to the other side to go
So
against
my
Mike
guess
Caliendo?
in the thing, my two were Andy versus Fangio, and then Jalen Carter versus Smith, because that's
Yeah,
such a
that's
big match
essentially what
between
I'm
those.
doing here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is what. So I would probably not. I would probably let Jalen Carter go up against strength because I think he still wins. And
Yeah.
also it would force the Chiefs to try and maybe double him less, maybe give him more of an opportunity
That's a good
to go
point. That's a good
one-on-one
point.
and stuff. And also, look, if like this is one of those things where I need to know Jalen Carter and how he plays and all. If Jalen Carter feels super comfortable flip-flopping, like sure, I would
Well, he
mix it.
hasn't done it for what it's worth.
That's why I'm
Yeah,
bringing it up, because I
exactly.
know he
Right,
hasn't.
right.
So like that might just be his spot. Like you just
Yeah.
talked about Carl
Yep.
Loftus. Like that's just the guy's spot. Like he feels
Yep.
more
Yep.
whatever. So like I would have to really know that Carter is comfortable on both sides to do anything like that. And then in that case, I might 5-6 snaps. I might like mix it in to give different looks and to mess with
Yeah.
Caliendo or to mess with their protection schemes. But like on the whole, and I've said this for multiple things this week, but like I am not changing something dramatically with the way this team plays football. Like, I think we're better. Go out and beat them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mostly agree with that. I mean, the idea of Jalen Carter taking snaps against their backup left guard is like very enticing, So
Oh, yeah. Oh,
there's
yeah.
that. But the other thing I'd say too is like I have a ton of confidence in Milton Williams having a big game. So if it
Me
was
too. So
Jordan
I told you,
Davis,
talking about bets. And by the way, tomorrow on the Bet Parks Picks
we'll
pod,
go through them all. Yep.
we'll go through some fun props on it. But I already bet on Milton Williams to get a sack. Like I
I
already
like
did.
it. Yeah.
I love that bet.
Yeah, I agree. He's played well against the Chiefs in the past. He's been good against the run, but that's him getting in the backfield and
Pretty
beating
good
the
odds
guard.
too. What do you think the odds would be on a Milton Williams sack?
Plus 550.
Oh, dude, that's way too high. No, it
Oh,
was like
okay.
plus 220 or plus 230,
Okay,
which is pretty high.
I was gonna
Yeah.
do 4. I don't, to
Yeah.
be honest, have good reads on like
Yeah,
sack odds.
that was pretty high. I thought it was pretty
Yeah,
high.
for sure. Yeah. So anyway, I like that matchup, and I'll be curious how they do it. But like Jalen Carter, obviously a huge part of this game.
All right. Obviously, tune in tomorrow. We'll go through some props. We'll do our final kind of breakdown of the game for the pod. And then, of course, Saturday 1 to 3, we'll have an awesome
Yes.
prize from Window Nation. It's the best prize we've had all playoff runs. So that'll be pretty cool. And then we also, Sunday, 10 to noon on WIP on Super Bowl Sunday. Going to be awesome. All right, Elliot, final thoughts.
Okay, so this might be super simplistic, and maybe
mine's super simplistic too, for what it's worth.
All right, and maybe everyone already knew this, but I thought about this and it kind of blows my mind. I think the term show business means literally like show you can create business. Like show you can get people to come out to the movies. Show you can get people to come watch TV show. Show business. I've never viewed it that way, but I think that's what it means to me.
I don't think that's what it means.
I know, but doesn't it make a ton of sense? Like show
I
business,
guess,
like
sure.
show you can create business. Like Leonardo
I
DiCaprio.
don't think about it that way. It's you're putting on a show, and that's the business.
No,
it's
I get
a
that.
Show business.
Right, but like
that's what my point is. Like I've that's the way I think of it.
Yeah,
you're putting on a show,
and that's probably how everybody views it. But like Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the biggest in show business because he shows he can create business.
Sure,
I think it's good. Yeah,
I don't think.
I think it makes sense. It makes sense. No, yeah,
it's okay.
They show you can create business.
I think it's one of your less good simple ones, but that's okay.
Kristen seems to disagree out the corner of my ear. What'd you say?
Kristen's on my side.
No, I know they're putting.
That's
on
what I
That's
said. Tell
said.
Kristen that.
Yeah. She can't hear what you're saying, but yeah,
but she agrees.
That is what he said. I agree. They can also mean that, but it does make sense. Show you can create business.
Okay. Mine is inarguable because it's simple in the fact that it's something I feel. I'm gonna get to that one second. I just want to tell you this because I thought you'd enjoy this. I always talk about how Emily never listens to anything we do, anything I do.
Right.
Never...
She was listening, of course.
No, it's just really funny because I got home with Zoe when you were on with the afternoon show, 3 or 4, whatever it was.
Right.
And she came to like help me get Zoe out of the car and like grab some bags or whatever. And you were talking, and she turns to me with this huge smile. She's like, "That's Elliot." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Emily
he's
or
on
Zoe?
all Emily."
That's so funny. Yeah.
It was like I was like, "Yeah, he's on all the time." He's like, "No, I know." Like it's just to show how little Like she got real joy hearing your
It's like,
voice
wow,
on the
Elliot's
radio.
on the radio. Who would have thought?
Exactly.
Who would have ever
It was
thought? Yeah.
adorable. It was
What would
great.
he be doing on WIP?
No, but here's my real final thought. And I'm not doing this for the accolades or
it's not your style.
I mean, yeah, I'm not doing it so people say, wow, great job or whatever.
Right.
I'm doing this just because it's been completely and totally on my mind for the last few days or whatever. And
all right, let's hear it. Get it off your chest.
We don't curse, so I'm going to use a bleeping here. I bleeping hate my playoff beard so much. I have never wanted to shave more in my life.
That's crazy. It looks good.
No, it looks fine. It's not a look thing. It's the reason I shave. I always let things go long, and then whenever I can feel these little hairs tickling my nose, I'm not messing with it. It's a playoff beard. You know,
I think trimming that part is okay.
No. I'm sacrificing here, but I hate it. It tickles my nose. Like if I drink something, my freaking mouth is all wet because it's like my mustache wet. If I blow my nose, it's like you gotta really like rub it. Like I hate this so much. Like it is so uncomfortable. It itches. Like I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Go Birds.
We appreciate the sacrifice. One quick thing off that, it's funny.
It's so awful, Elliot. I'm like 50 times a day. I think, God, that's annoying. That tickles. That whatever. I wish I could get rid of it.
So you know, like what and people not watching the YouTube, you're missing out. But like the hairs that are at the top, like right by your nose, I always. Yeah, I use like little scissors.
I would too if it weren't a playoff beard. If I actually wanted to grow a beard and like manicure or whatever, I would do that. I only still have this beard for this stupid playoff. Not stupid, but because of the playoffs. Like that's it. Like I would have shaved 2 weeks ago if I could have. I had to get it off my chest because there's no one who cares. And even the people listening don't care. But I had to put it out there that how uncomfortable this is and how much I hate it. And go Birds. And they better freaking win because of this stupid freaking beard. That's
there is no item in our household that I ask Kristen more where it's at than the little pair of scissors to trim my beard. And I never find them. I would use it 10 times more if I could find it. I never could find them. So
it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
Right here. I hate this whole
area. I agree. It sticks out. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to my
no problem.
Thing about
That's what
that.
I'm here for.
I meant everyone else. I don't care if you listen.
Oh yeah, true.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Elliot's got to go, cover the Super Bowl and all that.
Blah, blah. Yeah.
No. Awesome. We'll hear more about that tomorrow. Plus props, all kinds of fun stuff. It's getting close, baby. It's getting